UNDERPRIEST Brogni is our next fusion, and you need to get this champion. I'll explain why in today's video, but we are also going to go over the other new champions on the test server, so let's jump right in. So let's first start with a quick look at the new champions in the Banner Lords. We have Gisker, the Sigil, the Sigil, whatever. His decreased attack A1 skill will remain unchanged. I believe the Lion's Roar here will only be on a 3-turn cooldown, not a 2-turn cooldown, but it's an AoE provoke as well as a shield buff. Then we have increased defense and increased attack on all allies for 2 turns. This is great, and the passive will be reduced to 15% turn meter increase when attacked against champions under provoke or increase attack. He has an aura for the faction Crips. The next one is Mordecai from the Sacred Order. I think this champion will be absolutely amazing. You do have a decrease of the turn meter on the A1 with HP burn, but you also have a 75% chance of decreasing turn meter of all allies by 15%, all enemies, sorry, and then you increase the turn meter of all allies by 15%, so this is a 30% difference. This is actually really good on a 3-turn cooldown, and then you have an AoE HP burn, which is great for the Spider. So if this is the champion part of the fusion of UNDERPRIEST Brogni, and there's 4 of them, try and get an extra copy of this one. I think he's going to be absolutely amazing. A 40 accuracy increase aura for all battles is also pretty good. The next one is Skimfos of the Consumed. Looks absolutely amazing on the A1, double hit, decreased speed, and decreasing the turn meter by 10%. Here you have an attack all enemies, 75% chance of placing decreased attack. After attacking, you transfer all debuffs except anything that's crowd control, basically, from all allies to this champion, which is going to work with his passive to basically heal him of their max HP for each debuff on them at the start of each turn. If there's 4 or more, he's in fact going to buff up on top of this. And then the A3 here, or Clutch of Woe, transfers all debuffs from this champion to a target enemy, then attacks the target and steals 100% of the turn meter if this attack is critical. The next 2 champions is from the Shadowkin faction. The first one is an epic attack. It is a Fenshi. You have a triple hit A1 with a decreased speed. That is really good for the Fire Knight. You also have a triple hit A2 with 50% chance of decreasing turn meter by 15% on each hit. This is really good. And on top of that, you have a double hit A3. Each hit places a 5% poison debuff on the target for 3 turns, which is really good. And you also ignore defense by 10% for each poison debuff on the target. I think this would also be pretty good for, let's say, the clan boss as a poisoner, but this is not the most broken champion in the game. It will be Riho Bone Spear. She has an amazing kit, absolutely amazing. On the A1, you will place continuous heals, a bigger version on the ally with the lowest HP, and then a 7.5% on all other ones whose HP is 30% or less. This is for 1 turn. This skill here, look at all these debuffs, they are all placed on the target. This is basically a hit, but like, she's void, which means it's never really going to fail. And you have stun, which wouldn't work for the clan boss, but HP burn, decreased defense, weaken, decreased attack, decrease crit rate. This is basically combining almost 3 champions into 1 for the clan boss. It is on a 3-turn cooldown. Once fully booked, this is literally broken. Then we have this right here, where you remove all debuffs from all allies, then you place a block debuffs on them for 2 turns, and you also heal them, and basically a further 5% heal if any debuff is removed from them. This is literally broken. And then for the passive here, which is only a 3-turn cooldown, it's not always going to happen, but if you receive a debuff, you instantly transfer that back to the attacker, and you have a 42% increased attack for faction Crips. But now on to the fusion of UNDERPRIEST Brogni. Here's a quick reminder of what the fusion might look like. This will obviously be updated once it goes live. So 2 things are going to happen, in my opinion, for the fusion potions. Either we get 4 of the same epic, 1 of the new ones, or we get 1 of each, which might very well be the case. I also did not really see any new rare champions for the time being, which begs the question, are we going to have to use old rare champions I'm really eager to see how this is going to work out. But basically, if it is one of each of the new epic champions, you would have Fenshi, which is Force. You would have Giscard, whatever, which is Spirit. We would have Skimfos, which is Avoid. And then you would have Mordecai, which is Force, effectively being down the lines of a balanced fusion for the epic champions. So as for your potions, you might want to try and farm a couple more today and tonight, which is going to have the Force Keep open at the reset. All right, so you might want to try and get a couple more Force potions if you don't have enough. But now on to this guy, which I already have on the test server. So UNDERPRIEST BROGNI, I put him in a direct swap of the gear from my Mausoleum Mage. In my opinion, he works very similarly to that champion, but he is in fact much better simply because this skill is in the right order. It's a 3-turn cooldown. You place block debuffs first, then you get increased attack, then you get a shield. Guys, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. You only have a handful of other champions in the game that can do this, Sifi being one of them. So the fact that you can have this right off the bat, this is a huge upgrade for the Doom Tower, even for me, right? I used to have to work with very high resistance on pretty much all my champions because I didn't have a reliable block debuffs champion first. Even this Mausoleum Mage here, which does have something similar, it's at the end, okay? So you see how this is a problem? You can get frozen against Torments with the increased crit rate and increased defense, which is why I stopped using him. But now, UNDERPRIEST BROGNI in a shield set, it doesn't have to be a shield set. He does have a reasonable amount of HP, but I would suggest you try and aim for something similar. So I literally just swapped the gear. It has a reasonable amount of speed, 3k defense, 370 resistance. You also kind of don't want to be controlled if, let's say, you're going in the arena and somebody is faster than you. I still think resistance is going to be good, but you also need accuracy on this champion. On my Mausoleum Mage, I did not have accuracy. Here you do because of this skill right here, where you can basically remove one random debuff from all allies. So this is somewhat of a strip. It's not a full one. One random debuff from here, and then you also cleanse on your end. All right, so combined with these two skills, he can do a lot of great things. In my opinion, you want this champion. HP burn on the A1 is also great, and of course you have this passive right here, which will reflect 25% of the damage that was done to a shield back to the attacker, and also heal that ally by 25% of the damage inflicted on the shield. Very unique, very good champion. Again, do get this one. We have these masteries for the time being. Now let's take him for a spin. Let's first start with the Doom Tower, because this is where I think I'm going to use this champion on a daily basis. Number one, I can now swap my Seer in the lead to this guy right here, because I do get an extra 20 resistance. His aura is better for the Doom Tower, therefore I really think this champion is going to be a huge upgrade for anybody's Doom Tower team, unless of course you are a whale and you have all the perfect champions, but I don't. So let's quickly let this play out here. Buff from basically all those champions. See right there, he went for his A3, so we get a plenty more buffs to work with to nuke this wave. Fantastic. There's such a thing as, let's say, too many buffs if your Seer is really strong, but it's still a couple extra buffs to work with for you to ensure that you kill these champions. So the block debuffs is great, but if you're working with the Seer, don't forget, you're going to remove that, right? It's still pretty good. Then as for the, we're going to cycle through the next round here, you'll see that basically Seer is on cooldown. And so UNDERPRIEST BROGNI, if he buffs up again, then you should have that advantage of the block debuffs, right? And it went up first. So I didn't pick a floor that had a Torment in here, but I would assume that's where this is going to be very handy. And then of course, anywhere else in the game, such as the arena, like I said before, is also going to be fantastic. So we're not going to watch this. I'm pretty sure it is going to work. Let's quickly go check a dungeon run. And the team that I have is a slight modification of my really fast dungeon team. I usually have 2 Royal Guards in here, but instead I'm going to bring in the UNDERPRIEST BROGNI just for more buffs and to see if it can help me survive once we get to the boss himself, right? So I just want to see this play out. AoE decrease defense and weaken, 2 buffs, then we get 3 more buffs and we nuke. See those numbers? 460k damage. that's way overkill. You do not need all of this. So if you don't have Lydia, you can use War Maiden in here. That will still work. You will then have enough buffs with Underpriest Brogni to nuke these waves, okay? So this is great. Again, a great improvement for anybody's account who is progressing. You gotta get this one. I think he's one of those that is going to do a long-term difference on your account. Here for the boss, so we're going to buff up. We're probably going to take some hits. AoE decrease defense and weaken. We buff up right there, but Seer now is on cooldown. We get the extra turn. We get the nuke. Perfect. See, so even though Seer deals reduced damage to bosses, having more buffs means you still get some pretty reasonable nukes. So this is also a great thing if you get too many, right? Too many buffs. Right there, we lost our Renegade. I'm not supposed to be taking hits really here because the way the speed tuning is done. So Royal Guard will hopefully survive until he can do his takedown ability. But see right there, we get a big shield from our Underpriest Brogni, but then we strip it again with Seer. So it is going to be a little bit touchy to use, let's say, the Seer with this guy. It's all about just how the skills are going to rotate, but it is still usable. And then here, as long as my Seer can actually survive those next couple of hits here, we can still take down this boss. It's not a 35-second run, but I'm just trying to show you guys that he's still usable in a similar team. Then, of course, we have the arena, and I'm facing some of the best players in the game right now on the arena and the test server. So we're just going to go for a very slow, high resistance team with a lot of shield sets. We're going to see if we can actually do something here. So Underpriest Brogni, cleansing that, placing the block debuffs. We're taking that big hit. Trunda died. Trunda killed herself against the shield or the passive of Underpriest Brogni. You see how good that is, right? So now you have sort of like a speed counter to this meta. This is huge, guys. It is so good. You need to get Underpriest Brogni. This is the proof right there. So there you have it, guys. My quick rundown of this new champion on the test server. Here's the great haul in case you guys want to compare stats or whatever. It's a little bit different from the live server, but not by that much. And then here's a quick final recap of the gear on this champion. We have a shield set, high resistance, relative amount of accuracy, 234 speed, 3k defense. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.